Now for the part that you might really enjoy. Maybe not. And of course, as usual, I interpolate and extrapolate a lot, but I feel that it's okay to do that. I've had a wide range of experiences, as we've talked about before, and this is no less than that. And it has to do with sex. Oh my gosh, you're going to talk about sex when you're talking about the Bible? Of course I am. I didn't make sex, God did, right? So I want to point something out to you. Sex has been used for good and evil, just like everything else. A screwdriver can be used, no double entendre meant there, okay? Can be used as a tool to tighten down bolts and screws and things like that, or it can be used as a weapon. Of course, being used as a weapon is the wrong use of it. In other words, as I've said before, the right use of it is as a tool for construction or whatever. An unrighteous use would be to hurt somebody, unless, of course, you're defending yourself. That would be different, but I think you get my point. Well, everything in life is like that. And sex is no different. Sex was given to us by God. It's part of the creation, okay? And if you've ever studied Carl Jung, Freud had one thing to say about it. Carl Jung was quite a bit different. And I'm not going to even quote him. I'm just going to explain my viewpoint of it, okay? I've been very big on the perfect law of liberty that James talks about, that's what we're supposed to do. And the scriptures are very replete in the sexual love, physical and emotional and spiritual, between a husband and a wife. Or between, and I'm not even saying you have to be state married, because I don't believe in that anyway. The state only got involved in marriage a little over a century or two ago. And they really have no right being there. But be that as it may, I'm talking about two people who have given themselves to each other, okay? Or in whatever circumstance you have. And I, of course, mean a man and a woman. I'm not talking about any of these other relationships that our modern world wants to give credence to. Not that they don't have a right to do that, but it's just, that's not what I'm talking about, okay? Because it doesn't go anywhere. And we could spend a lot of time about that, but I'll just put charity on it and leave it at that, okay? So God created us to experience liberty, and the sexual love, along with agape love, the bigger form of love, the heartfelt love, which a husband and wife can still feel for each other, not just sexually, but on the emotional, spiritual level. It's supposed to be that way. But a lot of people want to make it sound bad, that sex is bad, or how you express your love to your wife or your husband is to be controlled. Well, scriptures are quite replete about that too. It says there is no sin in the marriage bed. However you want to express that is your business, okay? But where I want to go with this is here. And I think all of you who have read 1984 will know exactly what I'm talking about. Look, the purpose of this world, purpose of our existence, is to experience as individuals. To be individuals. To be individual creations of God, and to learn and to grow. Whether it be, some people want to say, well, you have to do that through reincarnation or through multiple lives or however, or however you want to view it. I don't know. Most of it's semantics. The point is that we're in this process of what we call individuation. That's really what it's about. An infant doesn't have a concept of itself. Oh, it feels hunger and those types of things, but it doesn't have the concept of self. And it certainly can't have the concept of you being a self, yourself, all right? So the purpose of all this is to make us grow into these individual beings. And there are two principles in history, two things in history, in even religion, even in philosophy, that have driven us to that point. And we could talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the need to fix this thing with a tool or whatever, but I'm talking about the consciousness. I'm talking about the person. There are two principles that help us to individuate. The first, I'm going to put it first, I don't know that you can, but I'm going to, is the perfect law of liberty. That you own your own life and that you are free to act in a responsible way. That's what liberty means. Freedom is a little slightly different concept. But the principle of liberty, that you can control your own life, you can make your own choices, that you can find things out on your own. The awe of personal, individual discovery. Okay? The second is sex. Sex is the biological individuation process of us becoming more aware of ourselves. Of course, we can do that in conjunction with the person that we love. Hopefully, we use it that way. I'm not saying that. I once had a woman tell me, well, love and sex aren't the same thing, and that's true. It really is true. But they're best if they fuse. I'm not saying that that's absolutely necessary to happen, but it would be the best of all worlds if those two things fuse. Well, so the point is that liberty and our sexual beings are necessary for us to attain our individual self-worth, our identity, our appreciation of ourselves, and giving that to others, being intimate with another person that way, and thereby fusing in that situation, allowing liberty and having love and sex. I haven't fully understood that myself in the past, and sometimes I've taken rather lengthy and out of the way emotions, I guess you could say, whether they be jealousy or just not understanding, not being able to communicate, not giving enough to the other side to allow them to figure out what they want for themselves. Hopefully including me, I guess is the point. But we all go through this, and it's absolutely necessary that we do. Now, I mentioned 1984, and this is where I'm going with this. Now, sex can be exploited to where it becomes an object in and of itself, and it can be degraded. And in doing that, you actually destroy the sexual function in the long run, okay? And that has happened throughout history, but it's especially going on now. And of course, liberty is being attacked at all levels. Everybody wants, the powers that be constantly talk about collectivism, you know. There is no individual, the state's what matters, that collective mind, so to speak. Well, look back at 1984. What were the two things that the powers that be in 1984 attacked directly? Liberty, right? And sex. And in the case of sex, of course, it was to do away with the orgasm, which is, you know, the culmination of the sex activity. So here we have the powers that be admitting that their two targets are liberty and sex. The destruction of liberty and the destruction of the male-female relationship in every possible way they can. In the end, taking away the sexual attraction and the orgasm. Now, I'm being frank here, okay? And a lot of people aren't going to like that. Tough luck, all right? So how do we fuse these two videos that I've just done? This thing yesterday or the day before where I said, you know, the best of us are falling short. If I had said anything less than that, I would be doing you a disservice. Because I would rather ask you, saying, don't contribute to these things, right? If you contribute to this enemy, this evil at all, which even I do and I don't want to, but we have to find ways to stop doing that. So we fuse that video with this one. And how do we go about it? By using our liberty, and not sex in a promiscuous way, but as Peter was talking about, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you read the rest of 1 Peter, the sexual relationship with our significant other. And I'm talking about the male-female relationship. That is, those two principles are the principles that God has put into place to bring us where God is. The Lord's Prayer. That His will that is done in heaven may be brought to earth. In this very simple explanation. These gifts that God has given to us to experience, and hopefully the right use of them in righteousness. Have a wonderful